Hey everyone, Caser. Welcome back to Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery. Well, we've got a brand new limited time side quest. Shocking, I know. It seems like we get about maybe one of these a month or so. And usually they tie into the years and the chapters. For this one, you have to be at least year 4, chapter 3 to get it to trigger. Basically it says here that there's a magical artifact that is missing, and it's up to you and your friends to figure out what it is and who might have taken it. So, some kind of mirror, it looks like. Search for the mirror of Erised, or Erised, something like that. So, off to the Great Hall. Watcher Casey, have you heard? The professors are all worked up today about some lost magical artifact. They do look a little bit concerned about something. Do we know something's gone missing? Not yet, but they seem to be quite keen to get it back. Why do you think they're so concerned about finding the magical artifact, Casey? It could be dangerous, it could be valuable, it has sentimental value. Maybe it's dangerous? Of course, that makes sense. Hogwarts certainly has its share of dangerous magical artifacts. Is it wrong that I'm more concerned about if it's dangerous? One thing's for sure. There's a field and all the teachers will be looking for this missing artifact. They won't be the only ones. What do you mean, Marilla? Are you up to something? Maybe we are, maybe we aren't. Finding the missing artifacts is important to Professor Dumbledore. That's exactly why we're interested in whatever it is. But we can't let you leave until we know exactly what you're up to. So tell us what you're planning, Marilla. You're going to try and get the artifact. You get a sweet, sweet reward in the end, I guess. And speaking of reward, I will probably get a reward for completing this entire questline. What it is, I have no idea yet. My guess, though, something good. I always kind of dread doing these because it requires so much energy, and it just takes so long to do. Whatever the missing artifact is, it's gone missing for a reason. So Esmeralda and I intend to find it first. And we don't plan to give it back to the headmaster until we've had our fun with it. That's a terrible idea, Marilla. I'm not interested in what you think about my ideas, Hayward. Penny wants to help the headmaster find the lost artifact. Perhaps we'll return it to Dumbledore before you cause any trouble with it. That sounds brilliant. You'll definitely like to beat us to it. And first you need to figure out whatever it is gone missing. Which is why we're going to bring in the help of a few of our friends. The hunt for the headmaster's missing magical thingy is on. Fantastic. We get Marilla again, which is fine. I like Marilla. Many people don't. But I'm going to say one thing. Marilla's always very brass in these limited time things. Why can't we have a sweet Marilla for once? Well, look who's here. Found the missing artifact yet, Casey? We're not even sure what we're looking for yet, Marilla. But we're confident we're going to beat you and Esmeralda to it. Then you have to beat me too. You're working with Marilla and Esmeralda, Tulip? I'm surprised, aren't you, Casey? It's definitely surprising. I'm not surprised at all. I'm surprised. Marilla and Tulip have certainly had their differences, so it's definitely surprising to me that you'd be working together. I can understand that. It is Marilla after all. but we're not exactly working together. I just want to find out what the missing artifact is. And most of all, have a chance to use it before the headmaster realizes we have it. I suppose that makes a bit more sense, even if I don't like it. Tonks is the one who told me what's going on.
Huh.
And I couldn't resist the idea that the missing artifact could have an excellent prank potential. Enough prattling on, we still need to figure out exactly what we're looking for so we can begin the hunt. Well, we got Phil's behind us, I'm sure he'll figure it out. Or tell us. I say we all brainstorm together to figure out what Dumbledore is looking for. Why would we talk about any of this with you, Esmeralda? Yeah, we're trying to beat you to the missing artifact, not help you find it. If you and Penny are convinced you can figure out what it is first, you shouldn't be worried we'll beat you to it. Esmeralda is right, so let's try to figure out what magical artifact Professor Dumbledore is looking for. He's still there, by the way. Seems as if working together to figure out what the missing artifact was a good idea. Sounds like the pensieve could be missing, or maybe even the sword of Gryffindor, or the sorting hat. I looked for the sword of Gryffindor before. And hopefully learn a lesson about why I should stop Arilla. What Mr. Filch was overheard saying about catching us before we look into the glass makes the most sense. It sounds like Professor Dumbledore has lost the mirror of Erised. What is that? All this fuss about a mirror? Is he worried about combing his beard the wrong direction or something? Yes, that's exactly it, Tulip. I read about it once. The mirror of Erised shows the witch or wizard looking into it their ultimate heart's desire. I thought it said heart disease for a second. Now that's something I'm excited to see.
Huh.
I will see myself performing the ultimate prank with Tonks. I have so many dark desires I want to witness. We're definitely going to beat you to that mirror. We'll see about that. Casey and I make a pretty brilliant team. Less talking, more searching. Let's go. Ruler's so cocky, but she's also quite smart. I don't know how we'll find the mirror first, Casey. You're smart as well, Penny, so perhaps we'll find the mirror by doing what you do best. Studying? Exactly. It's time to go to the library to learn everything we can about the famed mirror of Erised. I'm going with Erised. I'm sure that's kind of similar. It looks like Erased. That's a lot of books. Thanks for leading me to research the missing mirror of Erised, Casey. Thank you for gathering all the books, Penny. You learned anything that might help us find the mirror yet? I'll tell you everything I know so far, and we can look for more information too. If we learn as much as we can about the mirror, perhaps we'll beat Ruler and her other friends to finding it. I mean, that's a pretty obvious plan. Whoever has the most information knows where to look. Especially if we can return this important artifact before anything bad happens to it. So let's study. At least it's short. That's good. But because it's a 1 hour quest, I can jump into this. You know, there's a lot we gotta do in a very short amount of time, so I'm hoping to try to get the first part done in one go. I only have about, well, 99 energy left. I don't know if it's gonna be enough or not, but hopefully it'll be close to enough. This is interesting. Erised is desire spelled backwards. Is it? That's one thing that you should always look for when you don't understand a word. Always look to see if it's either an anagram or it's like a backwards thing or, you know, that sort of stuff. Well, we learned a little bit more about the mirror's origins, including when it was made and what it might look like. With its gold frame and inscription. It says here that the inscription reads, Eris Stra Uru Oit Ub Kafu Oit On Worsi. I think the words might be jumbled, it looks like. But I don't feel like figuring it out. At least right now. It certainly sounds quite powerful and intriguing. I can understand why the headmaster wants it back. Good thing Marilla isn't here. Reading about the Mirror of Erised might make her want to find it even more. I'm not sure I'd even want to see what my heart's desire was in the mirror. Hi. I noticed you reading about the Mirror of Erised. You wouldn't be trying to find it, would you? We are looking for the mirror. We're not looking for the mirror. I'm just gonna tell her. Because we're gonna find it in the end anyway, probably. We are looking for the mirror, Madame Pince. Professor Dumbledore is quite keen to get it back. And we want to help him. This is a matter for your teachers, and you'd be wise to heed my advice. The Mirror of Erised is a powerful magical object. And the reflection one sees there can be compelling, alluring, and even mystifying. It is not to be trifled with, especially by immature students. The way you talk about the mirror, it seems like that's something that would be hidden away quite carefully. I agree. Yes, and an even wiser witch or wizard might argue that the hiding place would need to be wisely hidden as well. But enough about that. A library is for silent learning, not prattling on, and I am one witch who takes her own advice. I think Madame Pince may have just given us a clue as to where the Mirror of Erised is hidden, Casey. You mean a hiding place that is hidden itself? Yes, perhaps Madame Pince is referring to the Room of Requirement. What is that? Rumors say it's located off one of the quarters on the 7th floor, and is perhaps unplottable. But if the mirror's gone missing, why do we even need to find the Room of Requirement at all? You're right. If that's where it was kept, it's clearly not there anymore. Hold on, Penny. Perhaps we don't need to find the room itself. Maybe if we search the corridors, we might find a clue as to where the mirror went. Brilliance! Oh, yeah, okay. Let's go. Let's get out of here. From Barnaby Lee and Talbot Winger. So we're not going to go to this Room of Requirement because I want to see what it looks like. That would be nice. There's good old Barnaby. There's Casey. Cheers, mate. Hello, Casey. You wanted to meet us here? Is it about your hunt for the Mirror of Erised? In fact, it is, Talbot. And thanks both for coming. Marilla, Isabella, and Tulip want to find the mirror before Professor Dumbledore does, so they can look into it. We've both thought it would be quite fun to look into it as well. I didn't say it would be fun, Barnaby, I said it would be meaningful. Fun is easier, and I don't think I understand what you meant by meaningful anyway. I mean that what the Mirror of Erised will show you could be a profound and powerful vision. Perhaps of eternal contentment, or even unknown joy. I think fun is pretty joyful. But I guess it is a matter of opinion. Would looking in the mirror be a rightful lark like I expect it to be? Or perhaps a profound reflection could be carefully considered like I expect it to be. What do you think looking into the Mirror of Erised will feel like, KC? Proper fun, profound and serious? I'm not sure yet. It could do nothing for all we know. I'm not sure what I think the experience of looking in the mirror would be. We don't know much about it yet, or if any of us will even get the chance to look at it. Or if we should. I suppose you could be right, Casey, but I do find myself wanting to lurk. All I know right now is that the headmaster really wants to get the Mirror of Erised back. And beating Marilla and Isabella to it is the best way to do that. So, why did you ask us to meet you here in the corridor? The mirror may have been hidden in the unplottable room somewhere nearby. The Room of Requirement. I've heard rumors about that place. Exactly. We know the mirror has likely been taken from there. Perhaps there's a clue here that could lead us to it. But how do we know what to look for? We don't. Just check around for anything that's unusual. The race to the Mirror of Erised is important to Professor Dumbledore, which means it is important to us. So let's search for the clues to where the mirror could have disappeared to. I think that's a fantastic idea. Thanks for the help searching, mates. It seems like the only unusual thing in this hall is this plant pod. That Niffler was quite grand though, and you don't see those in the halls too often. Focus, Barnaby. Like I said, the Niffler would be searching for something shinier and smaller than the Mirror of Erised. But this plant could be a clue. What plant? I believe that's from a puffer pod plant. Though I've only seen those in the herbology classroom. And those books were about herbology as well. Perhaps Professor Sprout was here and even knows what happened to the mirror. I'm off to the herbology classroom to find out. Once again, what plant do you speak of? Alright, Sprout, where are you at? I'm so glad your hunt for clues to where the Mirror of Erised may have disappeared to paid off, KC. Well, we don't know if the clue's paid off yet, Penny. But the herbology books and sprig of pufferpod plant definitely led me to want to talk to Professor Sprout. Oh, it's a sprig! Well, how the frick? That was a sentence, right? Professor Flitwick was apparently looking for her earlier. No one knows and has seen her today. Penny, look! Is it the sprig? Whoa! What the frick is that? That's it, Casey. It's the Mirror of Erised. So, why do we need 3 more parts? We found it. It's over. Let's go home. I can tell by the frame. Should I look into a KC? Yes? No? That's for you to decide. Yes, go for it. I really want to see what happens, if anything. And if something doesn't happen, maybe that's what we're going to be focusing on for the rest of the whole thing. I appreciate that, Casey. And I do prefer to follow the rules. Professor Dumbledore seems to really want the mirror back anyway. He must have good reasons, and I wouldn't want to look without his permission. What are you students doing here before class? Professor Sprout, we were looking for you. We heard you've been gone all day. Yes, I left earlier for a trip to Hogsmeade where I was retrieving supplies. I only just returned. But Professor, what do you have the Mirror of Erised? I'm not sure that's any of your business. Actually, it is quite important to the Professor. Will you please explain how it came to be here? It would mean a lot to us, and to Professor Dumbledore. Very well, I will tell you why I brought the Mirror of Erised to my classroom. Great. I'm so excited. Perhaps I should have talked to Professor Dumbledore before I moved the mirror.
Ooh.
I certainly did not expect it to cause this much of a stir. And we don't mean to bother you about it. We were just trying to find the mirror before some of our friends. You said you were quite eager to find it, but I still don't understand why, Professor Sprout. I think it would be best to hold that story for Professor Dumbledore. If he is concerned about what has happened to the mirror, we should see him right away. That sounds like a good idea. Let's go see Dumbledore to tell him we found the missing Mirror of Erised. Hey, there we go. So, part 1 complete. There goes all my energy, but at least I was able to get a pretty big head start anyway on this. Part 2. I have found the mirror, but it goes missing again. Who has it this time, and will they deny its safe return? Oh, let's keep going. So let's go see Dumbledore and figure out what the heck is going on. There you are, Mr. Casey! I came as soon as you sent the word, Professor Dumbledore. Hello again, Professor Sprout. I believe Pomona was just about to explain how she came into the possession of the missing Mirror of Erised. Of course, Albus, let me tell you everything. And you should listen quite closely as well, Mr. Casey. As I expect Professor Sprout's explanation may shed some light as to why I was concerned when the mirror went missing. I'm eager to hear the tale myself, Professor Sprout, so please, tell us your story. Pomona is your name? I'm sure I've probably come across that in the game, I didn't know that, and I don't remember the movies. Because it's been too long. As I said, I've been trying my best to save one of the first puffer pods I ever planted.
Ooh.
It is quite important to me, as I've always wanted to grow a greenhouse full of plants born from it. But it sounds like the plant is dying, and you can't get the seedlings to blossom either. Sadly, no. I realized I may have to let my dear Puffapod go. But also believed that perhaps if I looked into the mirror of Erised, it would show me my heart's desire. And it did. I saw a greenhouse full of thriving Puffapods born from my first, joyfully exploding everywhere with life. How grand and lovely! It was. At first, I was so relieved.
Ooh.
The mirror gave me what I desired, but I admit, it brought me such joy I haven't wanted to return it. I apologize for causing any concern, Albus. And thank you, Mr. Casey, for bringing the kerfuffle it caused to my attention. I suppose you must think I'm quite silly for caring so much about my Puffapod. Or perhaps you can understand. It did sound a little silly. I completely understand. We've all got some kind of attachment to something, whether that be a materialistic thing or something that gives us nostalgia. I could go on. Of course I understand, Professor Sprout. You love all your plants, and this was your first. I'm glad you got to see your heart's desire realizing it by looking in the mirror. That is very kind, and I appreciate you coming with me to see the headmaster as you brought this to my attention. Compassion is an important virtue, Mr. Casey, and it is especially right and rare to see it in a student. Let this be a lesson to all of us. While the images in the mirror often bring comfort, they can also make people become fixated on a future that may not be possible. That is very true, Albus. You use the mirror for good reason, Pomona, and I am glad it gave you the ability to let go of your beloved plant. But that is when the mirror may work best, in allowing you to move on. There is a danger in becoming seduced by the image. Men have wasted away in the visage it projects. Of course, you're right, and thank you for understanding. No need. You are a teacher here at Hogwarts. You have access to so many of our magical treasures. And it is your right and privilege to use them. However, I do think it is best to avoid students getting involved with the mirror and its complicated visions. I agree. We should see you return at once. Mr. Casey, do any of your classmates know you have learned the location of the mirror? Only Penny, and she was determined to return it to you, Headmaster. She would be here herself if Professor Snape hadn't asked for help with something. I appreciate that, as well as you both coming to talk to me so quickly. But we need to retrieve the mirror of Erised at once. I will meet you at the Herbaldy classroom shortly. So guys, this is when someone takes it. Professor Dumbledore, there you are, but it looks like you've already moved the mirror of Erised. I wish that were true, Mr. Casey. What do you mean, Professor?
Ooh.
It's been stolen! Now, Pomona, let's not jump to conclusions. Thievery implies ill intent. It is most likely someone else realized the mirror of Erised has been found and simply wanted to gaze into it. But then, why would they move the mirror, Professor? Perhaps, like Professor Sprout, they wanted more time to enjoy what they saw. Though I am afraid I'll need to ask you an important question now, Mr. Casey. Do you know who might have removed the mirror of Erised from the Herbaldy classroom? I don't know. Perhaps it was another teacher. It could be one of my friends. There's no point in dancing around this or whatever. Just tell the truth. I suppose it could have been one of my friends. Many of the students were intrigued just knowing a magical artifact was missing, and only got more interested once they heard it was the mirror and what it could do. I won't force you to tell me who you might suspect without knowing for sure, but I would appreciate it if you would let me know should you learn who indeed has it in their possession. The power of the mirror of Erised is not to be trifled with. We should go talk to Mr. Filch, Albus. He often knows the most about what's happening within the castle. An excellent suggestion! And while we consult Mr. Filch, perhaps Mr. Casey might be searching for clues to identify who moved the mirror. Got it! Alright then, time to search the classroom for clues to who now has the Mirror of Erised. Croak. I've searched the entire herbology classroom, and I must admit, Dennis, your presence is quite a clue. Because it could mean that your owner is one who took the mirror. And since I know she wanted to look into it quite badly, I'm out to find Tulip Karasu. Or Karasu. Or Karasu. So let's see if she took it. Oh, it's so cute that the frog was following me. Dennis, there you are. I was wondering where you'd hopped off to. I found Dennis in the herbology classroom, though he's not what I was looking for when I got there. Oh really? What were you searching for, Casey? You know what I'm looking for. The Mirror of Erised. I'm not wasting time with guessing games. I was there looking for the Mirror of Erised. We both know you were looking for it too, and Professor Dumbledore really wants it back. As far as I'm concerned, Dumbledore can have it back. But you wanted to find the mirror, so what's changed? I looked into the Mirror of Erised. I think you better tell me everything right away, Tulip. What did you see when you gazed into the mirror? Ooh, I don't know. Many frogs. Dennis's death. Something. Well, hopefully I don't sound too tired, because I'm really freaking tired. I woke up in like the middle of the night to record this. So if it's not really tired, I am. So you hoped you'd see you and Tonks playing the ultimate prank together when you looked into the mirror. That's what I thought my heart's desire was. Turns out, I saw a nightmare. I was working for the Ministry of Magic, just like my parents. Thankfully, Tonks was there too. But I hate rules, and rule following. I'd never worked for the Ministry. The mirror must be broken. I don't think the mirror can show you a nightmare, Tulip, and it can't predict the future either. Were you happy in your vision? Yes, completely. That's the worst part. Looking into that mirror has made me question everything I know about myself. Do I really love pranks as much as I thought? Should I be more serious about my studies? Who am I, Casey? You're Tulip Karasu, and you still love pranks. But I expect this is exactly what Professor Dumbledore was worried about. Clearly you can see now that the mirror's message can sometimes be confusing. Trust me, Casey, I'd be happy to never see that blessed mirror again. Then, will you help me bring it back to the headmaster? I would, but I don't have it anymore. I gave it to Talbot. We'll get this sorted out, Tulip, but first, I have to head to the Ellery to retrieve the mirror from Talbot. I'm thinking about Tulip here and how she dreads being in the Ministry. But I mean, she can't do pranking forever. Obviously she's young enough to where she still thinks that stuff's really fun and interesting. But she's gonna obviously outgrow it, right? She would have to. There's a mirror. How the frick do they actually move it around? That thing is huge. Talbot, I'm so glad you're still here. Is that the mirror? It is, Casey. Isn't it splendid? He's quite cheery, which is bizarre. And you look rather glum, Tulip. You don't know the half of it. Talbot, do you know that Professor Dumbledore is still looking for the mirror? I assumed he might be. But I've been distracted since I was managing to move it to the Ellery using some magic. That makes sense. I was sure to be very careful. That's good, since it doesn't belong to us. Professor Sprout borrowed it for a while, but the teachers now want to put it back where it belongs. And so do I. You see, the mirror's reflection can be quite powerful, according to the headmaster and Tulip as well. I agree, because I've already looked in the mirror. That's why he's so happy. I kind of figured that. Yes, does that disappoint you? Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. I honestly do not care who looks in the frickin' mirror. I don't care. Dennis can look in the mirror for all I care. No, it doesn't disappoint me at all. You can make your own decisions. I'm glad. You're my friend, and I would respect your opinion if you didn't agree with my actions. Nevertheless, I must admit, I don't regret looking in the mirror. That explains the goofy grin, pretty much the opposite of how I feel. Allow me to explain what happened when I gazed into the mirror. I'm avoiding saying Erised because I have a hard time pronouncing it. Blimey, Talbot, that is a powerful image you saw reflected in the mirror. It was incredible to be with my family. We were all older, happier. My mom retired and working in our garden surrounded by pumpkins, and my father started writing for the Daily Prophet. At least you had your dream job and weren't some ministry stooge. I was returning home to them in the reflection of the mirror. It was as if the Death Eaters never came, Casey. Our family was together again. See? Dream job. That's a heart's desire. Alright, Tulip. But I must say, the mirror is mystifying and entrancing. I'm drawn to look into it again. That's exactly what Dumbledore warned Professor Sprout about. And perhaps it is a good reason the mirror should go back to him right away. That's not for you to decide, Casey. Marula, Barnaby, Esmeralda, you don't understand what's happened. And we don't care. We all want our chance to look in the mirror, so we're taking it with us. Maybe Marula's right. Everyone should have a chance to experience the mirror. But Dumbledore said, if you want to make your case for giving it back to Dumbledore, then you can meet us in the defense against the Dark Arts classroom after nightfall. Oh, I thought we were going to have to duel them for a second, but I guess not. Alright, well, that is it for part 2. And on to the third part, which will be in the next video. That's right, I'm going to be ending the video here. So we're halfway done. It says here that your friends want to look into the mirror, but Dumbledore still wants it back. Can you convince them to return the mirror? Well, I assume so. So what do you think so far of this limited time quest line? Do you think that I'm going to get a chance to look into it? Probably not, but it would be interesting to at least see it and see what all the fuss is about, but I guess we'll see how this turns out moving forward in Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye everybody.